I'm Carol Estes, Chair of Global Policy Solutions Center, and it's a great honor to introduce my friend, and if I may say so, colleague, Senator Mazie Hirono. She is the first Asian American senator in the Congress. She's the first Asian American senator in Hawaii, first woman senator, and she's incredible, and she told me to cut it short because she's supposed to be in about 6 places at the same time. So she is a human rights advocate and an incredibly generous woman who came to the U.S. from Fukushima, Japan with her mom.
I'll tell that part,
all
Carol.
Right. Okay, so.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody, and aloha. I do apologize for my running late, which backed everybody up, and pretty much I would say my good friend John Conyers has covered a lot of the things that I care about and you care about. And I actually have this whole thing prepared, remarks, but I'm not going to read this because I think it's more important for us to not just talk about what we need to do as advocates, but it is in the doing. I have spent most of my adult life, unfortunately, I started running for office in 1980, or unfortunately, as the case may be, but public service is something that I chose to do, and for most of my adult life, I have focused on creating opportunities for people who largely are powerless or voiceless in the halls of Congress and in our legislatures, and those would be seniors, women, children, immigrants. So I have been focused on really giving voice to the voiceless for my entire political life. And the reason that I am so impelled in this way is because of my own personal background as an immigrant. My mother showed me that one person can change a life, can make a difference, because she changed my life by bringing me to this country. I was born in Japan, in Fukushima, and most of my childhood, I came to this country just before I was 8 years old. Most of my childhood was spent on my grandparents' rice farm. It was very rural. We didn't have running water. We had a well. It was a very, very different existence than anything that I could have imagined in this country. But my mother had a terrible marriage with my father, who I never got to know very much. He was a compulsive gambler and an alcoholic. He would sell my mother's things in order to gamble away, so our life in Japan was hardly stable. My mother determined at a very early age, she was only about 30, she told me if she didn't do this before then, she probably would have lost her nerve. By that time, she had 3 children, and she determined that she needed to create a better life for herself and her children. And she plotted and planned in secret, because in those days, women in Japan were the chattel, the children were the chattel of the husband and the husband's family. So she had to plot in secret to give us a chance at another life. So when I was almost 8, we boarded the President Cleveland, and we came to a place called Hawaii in steerage. So of course, like many immigrant families, our early life was not easy. My mother worked many jobs, minimum wages, absolutely no benefits. As a child, my greatest fear was that my mother would get sick, and if she got sick, she couldn't go to work. If she didn't go to work, there would be no money. I know what it feels like to run out of money by the end of the month, and you're trying to put food on the table. So these are the kind of life experiences that formed my desire to give back to a state and to a country that afforded me opportunities that I never would have had otherwise. So, when I was a kid, we didn't have this free school lunch program, for example. So the school knew that I was an immigrant and didn't have much money, so they created a job for me. And that job was as a student cashier, collecting lunch money from the other kids. That is how I got my free lunch. And that was much of my elementary years. Well, things have improved, but you know what? You're here because there's a lot more to do. There's a huge income disparity in our country, and that disparity is even more of a devastating impact on minorities and the groups that do not have political power in our country. So we're up against it. And I say we because I am on your page and so many of the issues that you all care about. You are advocates from all across the country. And I know there's one person from Hawaii, a shout out to May Chu. Where are you, May? You better be in the audience still. Oh, there she is. Okay, so I thank you for your advocacy because, you know, all of us come to this point because we've experienced things in our lives, in our communities, that we want to do something about. And that's the crux. You know, what are we going to do? In the halls of Congress, we have people who believe that government is the problem, and the solution to that problem is to cut government at every turn. It is this kind of ideology that brought us the government shutdown, that brought us sequester, and basically they are in the majority right now. So, you know, what we do, who is sitting at the decision-making table matters. And I have to assume that that's a large part of what you focus on, is to make those kind of changes. And frankly, you know, right now, I'm kind of in a bind because I'm supposed to be meeting with Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. There is a huge for-profit college that summarily pretty much closed their doors, leaving thousands of students all across the country holding the bag. You know, what are they supposed to do? They still have outstanding school loans. They're enrolled in a school that has closed its doors. So I'll be meeting with him to figure out what we can do for the thousands of students who are in the lurch, many of whom rely on Pell Grants. So I could go on and on about the disparities in our country, the issues that we face. Clearly, as I said, the people who sit at the decision-making table matters, and those of us who believe that government should be part of the solution and that government is not the problem, we need your help. And I would say that the Citizens United and the opening of the floodgates to dark money is an issue that I hope that you folks as an organization would pay some attention to. Because this dark money that is basically hijacking democratic, in my view, elections. There are some things we can do at the state level to force disclosure, for example, of these contributors who anonymously provide hundreds of millions of dollars to impact our elections. And believe me, they are with the people who believe government is the problem and the solution is to cut government programs that impact all of the people we care about at every turn. So, you know, I would love to have more of an opportunity to talk with you all, but suffice to say that based on my background, my life experience, I know exactly who I'm fighting for and why every single day that I am here. I am with you. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you.